Good evening and welcome to WNAS Television on Spectrum. We'd also like to thank everyone outside of Floyd County who is checking in with us live tonight on YouTube. We are moments away from bringing you coverage of the 2022 primary election results. My name is Abigail Swearens and I'll be one of your hosts for tonight's program.
And I'm Brian Sullivan. I'll be joining Abby tonight along with 6 WNAS staff members who are going to be on the air providing results for 15 races that are going to be contested on this Election Day Eve.
Let's take a few moments to introduce themselves and let our viewers know what races they will be reporting on tonight.
WNAS. I will be covering the Republican race for United States House of Representatives in the 9th Congressional District, the Republican race for Floyd County Assessor, and the Republican race for Greenville Township Board.
I'm a junior at New Albany High School. This is my 3rd year in radio, and tonight I will be covering results from Republican side in the race for Indiana State Senator District 47 and the Democratic race for County Commissioner in District 1.
My name's Carter Davis. This is my 1st year in radio. I am in the junior class, and I will be covering the Republican races for Floyd County Auditor and the race for County Council District 3 for the Republicans.
Hi. Hello, I'm a freshman, and this is my 1st year in radio. Tonight, I will be providing results for the Republican race of Indiana State Representative, as well as the Republican race for County Council District 2.
Hi, my name is I'm a junior at New Albany High School, and this is my 1st year at WNAS. Tonight, I will be providing poll results for the races of U.S. House of Representatives in the 9th Congressional District, County Commissioner in District 1 on the Republican side, and the Democratic race for New Albany Township Trustee.
Hello, my name is Ian Rodriguez. I'm a senior in high school, and this is my 1st year in radio. Tonight, I'll be covering poll results for Floyd County Sheriff, the Republican race for County Council District 4, the Republican at-large race for the Georgetown Town Council.
Been providing election night coverage for both the primary and general elections since 1980.
It's quite a production putting this show on, and we have nearly half the radio and television department on hand this evening to make sure our coverage is possible. WNAS staff members were on hand at all 8 of the polling locations throughout Floyd County this evening, as well as the county clerk's office. They are bringing the results back to us as we speak. Mrs. Cheryl Stuber is tabulating and providing those for us throughout the coverage here tonight. In addition to the 8 of us that you see on camera, we got a crew behind the cameras here tonight, as well as back in the TV production room, making sure that everything runs as smoothly as possible. It's been a bunch of starts and stops here, as it always is, but hopefully everything's going pretty smoothly now, and you're ready for the programming here this evening.
Many of the races on the ballot are not races at all tonight, as there are many candidates who are running unopposed in the primary election. Those nominees are moving straight to the general election in November. When we hit some spots this evening that we are waiting for new updates and have some time to give you vote totals for those positions, I will be handling that.
We are going to stall here momentarily because we need the vote totals actually dropped off to us. We're getting those printed out right now. So in addition to the folks that we have got here this evening, I want to talk about some of the people working behind the scenes for us tonight, making sure that everything goes off without a hitch. Our camera people this evening are Oliver Trueblood, Braden Caswell, and Lily Parr. Back down at Mrs. Stuber's office working with her, in addition, we have got Nevaeh Owens, who is collecting the results as the students come driving those back. Justin Spurgeon is assisting in reading all of the vote totals that come in here with Mrs. Stuber to try to get those in here accurately. Khalees Tyler, who just walked in the door here to our side, she's running all of the results down to us to make sure that all the students here, myself, as well as the folks running the social media tonight are able to get those totals to you. On social media, if you are not already following us, we have got a Twitter page, WNAS 881 FM, that Tyson Garman and Whitney Bird are doing updates on. We've also got our Facebook page at WNAS Radio and Television. Malia Powell and Anna Walton are helping us with that tonight. So we have got the first batch here in our hands. And while we're getting stuff added up here, or actually written down and ready to throw over there, I'm going to start with an uncontested race going on here. Abby and I will be sharing some of those tonight. So in the race for United States Senator, we only have two candidates, one on the Democratic side, that is Thomas McDermott Jr. He's received all 416 votes for the Democrats, and the incumbent Todd Young has got 610 votes. So obviously running uncontested this evening, both of those candidates will be moving forward to the November general election. If you want to give us State Senator District 45 at this point.
So for State Senator District 45 for the Democratic Party, we have Nick Marshall with 30 votes. And for the Republican side, we have Chris Garden with 49 votes.
And these are, I should have mentioned that right at the start, this is with 3 out of 8 polling locations reported. So what you're going to hear this first go around that we've got, these are the results from New Albany High School, from Scribner Middle School, and from Greenville Elementary. Okay, so we'll be doing 3 or 4 updates throughout the evening, and obviously the further in the night we go, we'll have bigger vote totals. But right now, 3 polling locations out of 8, and does not include the early voting that would have come through at the clerk's office. So New Albany High School, Scribner Middle School, and Greenville Elementary are the totals that we are providing right now. When you all are ready and want to give me a thumbs up that you're set, all right, we are going to start with Riley with the first update of the evening.
With 3 out of 8 polling locations reporting in the Republican race for United States House of Representatives in the 9th Congressional District, the votes are as follows. Jim Baker has 244 votes. J. Michael Davison has 13. Dan Heiwig has 7. Aaron Houchin has collected 245 votes. Eric Schonsberg has 46. Mike Sodrell with 269. Stuart Barnes Israel has garnered 148 so far. And Brian Tibbs checks in with 14, and Bill Thomas with 11 votes.
State Representative for District 70. Both of those running uncontested. We'll go to Abby on that one.
For District 70, for the Democratic Party, we have Jason Joe Szymanski with 58 votes. And for the Republican side, we have Karen Engelman with 226 votes.
Engelman, the incumbent in that race. And again, both of those running uncontested in the primary this time. We're waiting to see when we've got another screen ready to go here in the back. You all will let us know when we are good to go. So the one that Riley just gave us, U.S. Representative 9th District, that's Trey Hollingsworth's seat. He opted after holding down that office for the last 2 terms not to run for re-election this time. It was a little bit unexpected, but as a result, a very crowded field here tonight. That is one that we're going to be keeping a close eye on. Mike Sodrell is the early leader, 269 votes to Aaron Houchin's 245 here in Floyd County. Mike Sodrell had held this position previously on 1 or 2 occasions earlier in his political career. He had retired, but has come back out to try to gain his seat back. Aaron Houchin, so far, looking like his strongest competition early going on here. Let's see here. We are going to move on with some vote totals. Guys in the back, whenever you all are ready with the screens that you all want us to go to, but until then, we'll just go without the screens. I'm going to send it over to Jamie Gaetano, and I'll let you go ahead and do House of Representatives.
With 3 out of 8 polling locations reporting in the Democratic race for the United States House of Representatives in the 9th Congressional District, the votes are as follows. Isaac Azair has 126 votes, D. Liam Doris has 74, and Matthew Fife with 244.
So Matthew Fife with an early lead here with 3 polling locations. And did want to mention our thanks to the political candidates that took the opportunity to come down to WNAS studios throughout the spring. We always offer the opportunity for everyone on the ballot to come down to New Albany and come to the WNAS studios to record their part in the candidate profile show. If you have not had an opportunity to watch that, well, voting is done for the night, so it would be more for posterity's sake. But we've got that on our website. at wnas.org, as well as on our YouTube page. And we'll let you know that we will be doing that again for the general election coming up in November. We'll have all the candidates invited to come down here in September, record those, and have those posted for a month. So if your favorite candidate did not come down and record with us and share their story about why they're running and why you should be voting for them, encourage them to do so. We enjoy having them come in here and meet with our students, and we look forward to doing that again to provide that public service again coming up in the fall. Coming up next, we are going to go over to Eve White, and Eve will give us her first update of the evening.
3 out of 8 polling locations reporting on the Republican side in the race for Indiana State Senator District 47. Incumbent Kevin Bain checks in with 447 votes, while Gary Byrne currently has 268.
Bain, the incumbent here was not elected in the previous. I believe he is finishing out the term held by Ron Grooms, who had held this post the last several terms. He retired from office. Kevin Bain stepped in to fill out the remainder of Senator Grooms' term, and now Kevin Bain running his first election here for District 47, and he has got about 180 vote lead against Gary Byrne after 3 polling locations. I'm going to go back to Abby here to give us an update on an uncontested race. We'll look at District 71 there.
So for State Representative, District 71, for the Democratic side, we have Rita Fleming with 9 votes, and for the Republican side, we have Scott Hawkins with 7 votes.
All right, and most of that voting, all of those votes practically coming down at New Albany High School for District 71. Didn't have anybody vote in that race up in Greenville on that election. So Rita Fleming, the Democrat, will be advancing to November's election, has 9 votes early on, and Scott Hawkins, her Republican candidate, this fall with 7 at the beginning. Also going to look, while we're waiting for the next screen to be ready, I'm going to turn it back over to Abby to look at the judges race here in town.
So for the judge of Floyd Circuit Court, for the Democratic side, we have Dana Everly Pay with 453 votes, and for the Republican side, we have Justin Brown with 685 votes.
And again, uncontested races for both of those candidates. They will be advancing to face off against each other in the fall, as they are both seeking what would be for either one who won their first term as judge in Floyd Circuit Court. We have now got another race ready. We're going to go back to Riley looking at the assessor's race.
With 3 of 8 polling locations reporting in the Republican race for Floyd County Assessor, Chris Stones has 182 votes, incumbent James Sinks checks in with 120 votes, and Terry Watson has amassed 356 votes.
All right. Thank you, Riley. Another uncontested race, and there's currently no Democratic candidate that we have yet in the running for this fall for the clerk's office. Danita Burks, she won in the last election. She is running unopposed for the Republicans and has all 662 votes so far this evening, again with 3 out of 8 polling locations. We'll see if the Democrats put anybody up against Miss Burks in the fall, but right now, if nothing else changes, she will be unopposed all the way through and would be serving another term as the clerk of the circuit court here in Floyd County. We will now, let's see here. County Assessor, we've only got 1 Democrat running in that one. I think we already got an update on the Republican side, but for the Democrats, we'll go to Abby.
For County Assessor, for the Democratic Party, we have Patricia Badger Bird with 428 votes.
All right, so Trish Badger Bird will be advancing on the Democratic side to take on the winner of one of the 3 Republicans. And right now, early going, Terry Watson has doubled up Chris Dones with 356 votes to 182. James Sinks, the incumbent, with 120 votes thus far. All right, the next one that we have got up ready to go, it'll be back to Eve White. And Eve, we got County Commissioner, 2 races on the Democrat and Republican side, so one of the only ones that we have got a real contest here this evening. Eve, we will look at the Democratic side.
With 3 out of 8 polling locations reporting in the Democratic race for County Commissioner in District 1, Tyler Gaines has 241 votes, and Chuck Simons checks in with 182.
All right, thank you, Eve. Getting messages from our students. We're starting to get most of the results in here and being tabulated, but I just got one from Pearson Scott saying he is still waiting down at the county clerk's office, and so a situation where we've had a month of early voting taking place, and people have been able to come in on the weekends and do absentee early balloting. That's going to account for a big chunk of the votes this evening, and with Pearson still waiting, you don't want to step away from the production here because just because after 8 voting locations turned in that it looks like it's going one way, there could be a really drastic swing once we get the results in from the county clerk's office. Next one up, we're going to get our first trip over to our freshman there, Ellie Dablow, looking at one of the county council races tonight.
With 3 out of 8 polling locations reporting the Republican race for County Council District 2, Jim Freiberger checks in at 17 votes, while incumbent Adam Roberts holds 23 votes.
All right. Going to come back to Abby now. She was very, very intrigued about sharing what's going on in District 1 in the county council race as well.
So for the Democratic side, we have Tony Turan with 279 votes, and for the Republican side, we have Charlie Moon with 268 votes.
All right, that's shaping up to be a pretty competitive race here in the fall as well. County Council District 2, Ellie just told us that Adam Roberts is holding on to a slim margin early against Jim Freiberger. The winner of that one will advance to take on Daniel Harris, who is running unopposed in the Democratic side of things. He's got 25 votes so far this evening. While we are waiting for the next one, I'm actually going to jump back to Riley. Again, one of the races that we're keeping the closest eye on tonight is U.S. Representatives 9th District. The 9 Republican candidates trying to fill the void by the vacating of that position, with Trey Hollingsworth not seeking re-election. So Riley, if you're ready to run down through all of those again and let us know how that race is shaping up so far.
House of Representatives.
House of Representatives, 9th District.
All right. With 3 of 8 polling locations reporting in the Republican race for United States House of Representatives in the 9th Congressional District, the votes are as follows. Jim Baker has 59 votes. J. Michael Davison has 13 votes. Dan Haywick has 7. Aaron Houchin has collected 245. Eric Schonsberg has 46. Mike Sodrell with 269. Stuart Barnes Israel has garnered 148. So far, Brian Tibbs checks in with 14 and Bill Thomas with 11 votes.
All right, thank you very much. So early on, it's Mike Sodrell, the previous holder of this office, 269 votes, just a little bit out in front of Aaron Houchin with 245. And on the Democratic side, actually, let's go back to that Democratic side. Jamie Catano will do a rundown of the 3 candidates that are looking to advance to November to try to take over Hollingsworth's seat.
With 3 out of 8 polling locations reporting in the Democratic race for the United States House of Representatives in the 9th Congressional District, the votes are as follows. Isaac Azair has 126 votes, D. Liam Doris has 74, and Matthew Fife with 244.
All right, we have got a close one. Well, it's close only in terms of the vote. They're not running against each other, but they will be in November. The New Albany Township Trustee, the incumbent David Brewer, is running unopposed, and we'll go ahead and let Abby give the totals there.
For David Brewer, we have 371 votes, and for Dean Bagshaw, we have 372 votes.
So Brewer and Bagshaw, they will be squaring off in November. And again, you can't tell really for certain how things are going to play out by looking at the primary votes, when they're not actually running head-to-head. But it is intriguing to see that just a 1-vote difference so far in that one. Georgetown Town Clerk, they've got a treasurer position open. There are no Democrats nominated this year. We'll see if anything changes here after the primary election, if they put anybody up to take on Julia Keebler. But Keebler has got 6 votes so far up there. Obviously, that's going to numbers will shoot up once we get the results in from Georgetown Elementary coming up. Let's see here if we're getting any additions over there. Carter, have we had you up yet for anything?
We have not.
Well, I cannot stand to go too long without hearing your melodic voice. So we will not have the graphic for this, but I'm going to go ahead and send it over to Carter Davis to give us the first update of the night on Floyd County Auditor.
Thank you so much. I was about to unionize. With 3 out of the 8 polling locations reporting in the race for County Council District, County Council District number 3 for the Republicans, incumbent Danny Short has 80 votes, while Brian Webb currently sits at 36.
Now, I'm going to read Floyd County Auditor.
Pronounce this one, I think. With 3 out of the 8 polling locations reporting in the Republican race for Floyd County Auditor, Diana Topping has 416 votes, and Amanda Pawmeyer checks in with 234.
All right. We have actually got our next batch of results, and I know we have not hit all of those right now, so I'm going to get you all off the hook. We'll try to catch up on some of the ones we did not get the initial reports for. So we'll do that while the 6 fine individuals over here are getting everything updated. Let's look at some of the ones that we have passed over. State Representative District 72. That is a position that Ed Clare has held for several years. He is back up for election, and right now with 3 out of 8 polling locations, Ed Clare with 261 votes, Jackie Bright Grubbs with 196, and Tom Jones with 77. County Sheriff should be a pretty competitive race here this year. 3 really good candidates. We met with all of them during our candidate profile show. Daryl Mills is running unopposed on the Democratic side, has 445 votes so far tonight. He will face either Steve Bush or Sam Sarkeesian. Right now, a 100-vote advantage for Steve Bush, 468 to 368. County Assessor, I believe we touched on this at one point, but just a recap of that, Terry Watson on the Republican side, 356 votes, has just about doubled up Chris Dones with 182, and the incumbent James Sinks with 120 votes. You all will give me thumbs up when you all have got your stuff. All right, so we've got Ellie ready. We've got Eve ready. I'll run through a couple more here, and then we'll be waiting there in the back to get some of these. County Commissioner District 1, Tyler Gaines against Chuck Simons. Tyler Gaines, young candidate, only 28 years old, seeking office for the first time right now. About a 60-vote lead, 241 to 182 in the Democratic race for County Commissioner District 1. And one that we expect to be pretty competitive throughout the night, but a pretty big advantage early on. Al Knabel on the Republican side, 526 votes to 292 for the incumbent Sean Carruthers. County Council District 2, we'd also talked about early on. We've got low vote totals on that. That'll pick up throughout the evening, but Adam Roberts with a 6-vote advantage, 23 to 17 over Jim Freiberger. All right. We have touched on this one previously, but again, we're going to keep Riley busy with this throughout the night. So we've got our first batch of results now. We have got 2 additional. Let's go ahead and pitch the stuff that we don't have. So we'd already had New Albany, Scribner, and Greenville reporting. Now we've got additional results in from the 4-H Fairgrounds over on Green Valley Road, as well as Floyd Central High School up there on Old Vincennes. So we will start off our next round with Riley, once again looking at the 9th Congressional District.
Thanks, Brian. With 5 of 8 polling locations reporting in the Republican race for United States House of Representatives in the 9th Congressional District, the votes are as follows. Jim Baker has 150 votes. J. Michael Davison has 22. Dan Heiwig has, I somehow did not write that one down. Dan Heiwig has 12 votes. Aaron Houchin has collected 637. Eric Schonsberg has 124. Mike Sadrell with 656. Stuart Barnes Israel has garnered 335 so far. And Brian Tibbs checks in with 48. Bill Thomas with 21 votes.
All right, thank you very much. And probably the expectation, just based on name recognition, the amount of time that some of the candidates had been out, certainly the feeling was that Sadrell and Houchin were going to have a good opportunity around the 9th Congressional District this year. to potentially be the ones, and certainly that's the case so far here in Floyd County, as Mike Soderl has got a 19-vote advantage over Aaron Houchin thus far, 656 to 637 rather. All right, we have got our next one ready. This is the other side of that race on the Democratic side. We're going to go back over to Jamie Gaetano now.
All right. With 5 out of 8 polling locations reporting in the Democratic race for the United States House of Representatives in the 9th Congressional District, the votes are as follows. Isaac Azair has 236 votes, D. Liam Doris has 142, and Matthew Fife with 459 votes.
All right. Thank you, Jamie. Let's see here. Ian, I'm going to go ahead and get you squared up here. Let's look at the sheriff's race. We got 2 gentlemen on the Republican side running here. The winner of this one tonight is going to go on to take on Daryl Mills in November. So let's go ahead and get an update on that one from Ian.
Thank you, Mr. Brian Sullivan. This will be my first time reporting. We've got 5 out of 8 polling locations reporting in for the race for Floyd County Sheriff. On the Republican side, Steve Bush has 1,175 votes, and Sam Sarkeesian has totaled 888.
All right. And we got a note here, which I can almost make out that we might be getting a mispronunciation, which would have been probably on me, Sarkeesian. So I apologize for that, sir. So 1,175 for Bush right now, and Sarkeesian with 888. Again, we've still got Valley View, Prosser, Georgetown left to turn in their results, as well as the clerk's office, and that's going to obviously take up a big chunk of the totals here. So obviously having a 200-vote lead at this point, nice to have. You'd rather be ahead than behind, but there's still a whole lot more to go here this evening. So we got Ian with the sheriff's office. Ellie, let me go ahead and get County Council District 2, if we could, please.
With 5 out of 8 polling locations reporting in the Republican race for County Council District 2, Jim Freiberger checks in at 268 votes, while incumbent Adam Roberts holds 182 votes.
All right. Thank you very much, Ellie. Carter, I believe you are up in the rotation, and we will look at the auditor's race.
Yes, sir. In the Republican race for Floyd County Auditor, with 5 out of the 8 polling locations reporting, Diana Topping has 981 votes, and Amanda Pawmeyer checks in with 637.
Thank you, sir. Jamie Gaetano, let's get to you now and look at the race in the New Albany Township Board.
Okay. With 5 out of 8 polling locations reporting in the Democratic race for New Albany Township Board, Steve Bonifer currently has 465 votes. Rick Cochran has picked up 504 so far, and Max Gossman with 321, and Cedrica Potter tallying. Oh, and I have also missed that one on mine. It was not on there.
That's all right.
One moment, and I will have it for you all. With 378 votes.
All right. So 3 of the 4 candidates in that race will advance. On the Republican side, Ann Carruthers, Bob Hornig, and Victoria Sanchez, the only 3 candidates. All 3 of them will move on to the November election. So we're trimming the field by 1 this evening. So Rick Cochran, 504 votes. He's about 40 out in front of former New Albany High School history teacher Steve Bonifer. And then what we're looking at on the back end here, whoever finishes 3rd will move on. And right now that is Cedrica Porter with a 378 to 321 advantage over Max Gossman. So that is what we have got in the Township Board. Let me go to Eve, or we got another one right there. We're going to go back to Jamie. Sorry, we've got that those visuals up on the board here. So Jamie, County Commissioner for the Republican side here.
This is my redemption round. With 5 out of 8 polling locations reporting in the race for the County Commissioner in District 1 on the Republican side, Sean Carruthers has put up 775 votes, while Al Knable sits at 1,228 votes.
All right, thank you very much. Let's see. Eve, I don't want you to feel neglected here, so if we can get back and take a look at that the lone senator's race that we're dealing with statewide here this election.
Okay, with 5 out of 8 polling locations reporting on the Republican side in the race for Indiana State Senator District 47, incumbent Kevin Bain checks in with 1,084 votes, while Gary Byrne currently has 628.
Thank you, Eve. And that was the state senator's race. I believe we have got some totals in the back here that will correspond with Miss Dablow. Looking at one of the other county council races tonight.
5 out of 8 polling locations reporting in the Republican race for County Council District 2, Jim Freiberger checks in at 268 votes, while incumbent Adam Roberts holds 182 votes.
Thank you very much, Ellie. Ian, while we're on that side of the set, we'll look at County Council District 4 on the Republican side.
All right, thank you, Mr. Brian Sullivan. We've still got 5 out of the 8 polling locations reporting. And in the Republican race for County Council District 4, incumbent Denise Conkle has 313 votes, while Doug Wacker has 267.
Ian, you're doing such a good job. I'm going to keep it back there with you.
All right, thank you.
Let's take a look at the Georgetown Town Council.
I got you. All right, for the Georgetown Town Council, Brandon Hope has 9 votes, incumbent Chris Loop with 12, and Jason Parrish has claimed 4 votes.
All right, and that's for the at-large position on the town council out there in Georgetown. And again, we do not have any of the results in from the voting out at Georgetown Elementary, so obviously that's going to change quite a bit as the evening goes on and we get those additional results from further out in the county. Carter, we're going to come back to you for another county council race, this time with the Republicans.
Oh, wow. The Republicans. With 5 out of 8 polling locations reporting in the race for County Council District number 3, for the Republicans, incumbent Danny Short has 194 votes, while Brian Webb currently sits at 148.
Do we have number 11 potentially ready in the back on that screen? There we go. Carter, we're going to keep it with you for, did we just do District 3? Or?
We just did County Council District 3.
That's the one that we just had up there on the board. Okay, all right. Riley, let me come back to you here on the front row and get a first look this roundabout with the assessor's race.
All right. With 5 of 8 polling locations reporting in the Republican race for Floyd County Assessor, Chris Dons has 476 votes. Incumbent James Sinks checks in with 340 votes, and Terry Watson has amassed 818 votes.
All right, thank you very much. Ellie, we'll go back to you, and we are looking at state representative race on the Republican side.
With 5 out of 8 polling locations reporting in the Republican race for Indiana State Representative in District 72, incumbent Ed Clare has 749 votes, while challengers Jackie Bright Grubbs and Tom Jones have 552 and 226 votes.
We're going to look at some of the uncontested races while we're buying a little time for the fine men and women in the back room here, getting some of the updates on the screen for you. We know that if you're at home, you can probably hear what's going on, but we also are aware that there are viewing parties taking place around the county here tonight. As per usual, the Republicans are meeting down at the Calumet Club on the intersection of Vincennes and Spring Street. And Mr. Bonifer, who is running for the New Albany Town Board, let me know a couple days ago that the Democrats are out at the Exchange on Main Street. So in that situation, they probably cannot hear everything that we're saying in those large crowds. So we'll try to get some of the results flashed up on the screen. For everybody that can hear our voices right now, I'm going to turn it over to Abby right now on the Franklin Township Board.
So for Franklin Township Board, for the Democratic side, we have Ann Petkimmer with 0 votes. For the Democratic side, we have Donald R. Schickler with 0 votes and Joseph Zamorano with 18 votes.
All right, and expecting more of those votes obviously coming in as we get stuff from up at Georgetown as well as the clerk's office. So Height, Kemper, and Schickel have not accumulated any votes yet. Both of them will be moving forward. They're both currently on the Franklin Township Board, so regardless of how many they wind up with, they will be in November's general election. Joseph Zamorano, the only Republican that we see, he's got 18 votes, and so he'll be moving forward as well. While you all are getting those, I'm going to look at a couple of other races that we did not get to here. Riley, did we do the assessor?
The only one we did not do was the Greenville Township.
Greenville Township Board. So you go ahead and work on that next batch here. I'll do an update on that, and Eve, I'll take care of your county commissioner. Greenville Township Board and McNally and Carol Norton are both going to be moving automatically on the Democratic side. McNally with 73 votes, Norton with 57. On the Republican side, 3 out of 4 will be advancing. All 3 incumbents are back in the race right now, but it is the lone non-incumbent, the lone non-member of the Greenville Township Board, Kevin Willier, with 239 votes leading the way. He is 7 votes ahead of Patty Nelson with 232. 226 votes for Dave Matthews and his wife Cheryl Matthews with 177. So again, 3 out of those 4 candidates will be advancing to go on into November. We're going to do that. For the guys in the back, whatever the most recent update that we have got, if you all just want to scroll through, we're going to be radio silence here for a moment while everybody gets the next batch of updates checked off and written down on their sheets. So guys in the back, if you want to run through the results that you all have got right now, and then we will buy you a little time to get caught up on that next batch. Eve White, the only one of yours that I did not get to was County Commissioner District 1, and yours was on the Democratic side, and that is Tyler Gaines with 111 vote advantage over Chuck Simons, 457 to 346. The winner there advancing to take on either Al Knable or Sean Carruthers, and right now Knable has moved out to about a 450 vote lead, 1,228 votes. Sean Carruthers, the incumbent, with 775. I believe they are back there scrolling through those. I'm going to look for thumbs up from all of you all. All right. So once they are ready there in the back, we will get moving on. It's also going to give me an opportunity to recognize the folks in the TV production side of things tonight. We are on the radio station. We are on WNAS.org. We are on Spectrum 183. We are on our YouTube channel. So it takes a lot of folks to be able to get us on in all those places, hopefully as seamlessly as we can, starting with Jack Mutadir, who is back in the radio studios tonight, making sure that our audio is going out online stream, as well as 88.1 FM here in the area. Our director tonight is Nate Samsel. Gage Schmidt got us on the Spectrum channel. He's also handling producing efforts tonight. Any graphics that you're seeing up on the board is Cole Johnson and JB Deal tonight. Noah Schremser helping with the sound, and we had all sorts of fun times with the sound trying to get ready. I believe we ended up cannibalizing the audio from Scribner Middle School to get some of it caught up, and hopefully none of the video that Malia shot on the way over to Scribner to try to grab that stuff ever makes the light of day. Peyton Wade also helping with the lighting back here tonight, and I've got people running in and out that honestly I can't tell who is in and out on the side. It was supposed to be, thank you very much. It's very flattering. Colin Thurston was supposed to be on here. I think he got cleared to play in the New Albany Floyd Central volleyball game tonight. The New Albany volleyball team is ranked 5th in the state. They were playing Floyd Central this evening. And we do want to mention tomorrow night is senior night here at New Albany High School for the boys volleyball team. It will be the first time that we have put into use the new scoreboards that just got installed last week. So we invite everybody to come out and cheer on the boys volleyball team in their second year of existence, trying to chase down a state championship for New Albany. Okay, we have got the first one up in the rotation here yet again, and it is Riley with the most crowded field that we are dealing with tonight. So Riley, let us know what I'm looking here, 4-H Fairgrounds, New Albany. Actually, this is a new one. So we have got 7 of the 8 polling locations and still do not have the results from the clerks. So we're just waiting on Prosser and the clerk's office, but this update gets us a little bit closer here, and we'll start off with Riley once again.
Thanks, Brian. With 7 of the 8 polling places reporting in the Republican race for United States House of Representatives in the 9th Congressional District, the votes are as follows. Jim Baker has 253 votes. J. Michael Davison has 36. Dan Highwick has 23. Aaron Houchin has collected 1,093 votes. Eric Schonsberg has 201. Mike Sodrell with 1,113 votes. Stuart Barnes Israel has garnered 607. So far, Brian Tibbs checks in with 72, and Bill Thomas with 31 votes.
Again, we're not professional prognosticators here, and maybe I should have led with this. We do want to remind you that while we aim for the highest accuracy that we can here, a reminder that these are high school students putting on this production and doing 99% of the work here this evening, and that no matter what our totals wind up with tonight, these are not official. Only when they are certified by the clerk's office will we know the actual winners. We are usually almost exactly in line with what they have, but to find out definitive results, check with the News and Tribune tomorrow or look for the update on the Floyd County clerk's site. So, but again, not being a professional prognosticator here, even though Mike Sodrell has got about a 20-vote lead on Houchin. Houchin from further up towards the central part of the state. We would expect Sodrell, a Jeffersonville and New Albany resident most of his life, to have an advantage down here. That Houchin doing as well as she does make me think that when we start getting on here and look at some of the returns from around the state, that she could be in pretty good shape at this point. I'm going to go ahead. Do we have the results posted yet, gentlemen, for the Democratic side of, that would be slide 2. Yes, we do. So for that one, we're going to send it over to Jamie to give us the update for the Democrats.
With 7 out of 8 polling locations reporting in the Democratic race for the United States House of Representatives in the 9th Congressional District, the votes are as follows. Isaac Azair has 317 votes, D. Liam Doris has 186, and Matthew Fife with 620 votes.
We are seeing from the Indianapolis Star projections with about 17% of the vote coming in right now that Houchins has got about 40% of the vote thus far around southern Indiana, and Mike Sodrell, number 2, with 24% of the vote. So he does, as we said, have a 20-vote lead at this point in Floyd County. He's going to have to do some work elsewhere around the 9th Congressional District to make up some ground if he wants to regain that House seat that he held previously. We've got screen number 3 up here, and so that's going to send us back over to Eve White for the state senator race.
With 7 out of 8 polling locations reporting on Republican side in the race for Indiana State Senator District 47, incumbent Kevin Bain checks in with 1,960 votes, while Gary Byrne currently has 1,138.
All right, so things going pretty well right now in District 47 for Kevin Bainline. Let's look at some uncontested races here that Abby will get us caught up on, starting with District 70.
So for State Representative District 70, Jason Joe Szymanski has 165 votes, and Karen Engelman has 673 votes.
All right, and for District 71 for State Representative, again, both of these are going to be uncontested races. So both the candidates that we're about to mention here will be moving on to take each other on head-to-head in November. Democrat Rita Fleming with 15 votes so far. Republican Scott Hawkins with 8. We are set to head back over to Ellie Dablow and look at a state representative position that's up for grabs.
With 7 out of 8 polling locations reporting in the Republican race for Indiana State Representative in District 72, incumbent Ed Clare has 1,278 votes, while challengers Jackie Bright Grubbs and Tom Jones have 1,041 votes and 313 votes.
Thank you, Ellie. U.S. Senator, and again, Todd Young is the incumbent here, and he is running unopposed with 2,773 votes so far. He'll be moving forward into November's election to take on Thomas McDermott Jr., and McDermott with all 1,064 votes for the Democratic side. Getting an update that we are set to go back to Carter,
Yes,
and
sir.
we are looking at the auditor's race.
Yes, the auditor's race, with 7 out of 8 polling locations reporting in the Republican race for Floyd County Auditor. Deanna Topping has 1,678 votes, and Amanda Pallmeyer checks in with 1,119.
Thank
Back
you.
to you, Mr. Sullivan.
Thank you, Carter. Appreciate that. We're going to let Abby go ahead and give us a rundown at some of the uncontested races here this evening. Again, everybody running not against an opponent this evening, moving forward to the November election. So a couple that we have not had an opportunity to catch up on here in a while, and we'll send that over to Abby.
For Judge of Floyd Circuit Court, we have Dana Everly Pay with 1,146 votes, and Justin Brown with 2,959 votes. For prosecuting attorney for the Republican Party, we have Chris Lane with 2,973 votes, and for clerk of the Circuit Court for the Republican Party, we have Danita Burks with 2,916 votes.
Thank you, Abby. This is with 7 out of 8 polling locations. The updates that we've been doing this roundabout here. We have received the final location prosser, so I think they're getting that one added up, so we'll probably get a quick turnaround on that. But what we are waiting for is the clerk's office, which has been the case for the past several elections. And the last time we got an update here moments ago, Pearson Scott is still on location waiting for that. So we could be here for a little while longer. We will see. But we are ready for the next update. And for that is the sheriff's race on the Republican side. Ian, I believe you have that one.
Yes, I do, Mr. Brian Sullivan. And again, with 7 out of the 8 polling locations reporting in for the race for Floyd County Sheriff on the Republican side, Steve Bush has 1,942 votes, and I apologize, Mr. Sarkison, for butchering your name last time. You now have 1,586 votes.
All right, so still pretty competitive race there as we get deeper into the evening. Again, the winner on the Republican side will be challenging Daryl Mills, who was the former sheriff here in Floyd County. He is seeking to gain his position back, and Mills has got 1,134 votes so far this evening. Again, uncontested. He'll be advancing to take on the winner on the Republican side. Right now, Steve Bush with about a 360 vote advantage in that one. We're set to go back to Riley Kennedy for a look at the assessor's race.
Thanks, Brian. With 7 of 8 polling locations reporting in the Republican race for Floyd County Assessor, Chris Jones has 797 votes, incumbent James Sinks checks in with 597, and Terry Watson has amassed 1,408 votes.
Watson starting to stretch out his advantage here a little bit. The winner of that one will go on to take on Democrat Patricia Badger Bird in November. She has got 1,077 votes here thus far in the evening. Let me send it back to Abby here to look first at the County Council District 1 race.
So for County Council District 1, we have Democrat Tony Turan with 385 votes and Republican Charlie Moon with 453 votes.
So Moon and Turan will be squaring off with each other in the general election later on this fall. Freiberger and Roberts, we're going to get an update on that here in a little bit, but they'll be taking on the winner. Daniel Harris will be awaiting the winner of the Freiberger-Roberts race, and Harris with 242 votes running uncontested tonight in County Council District 2. Jamie, you are next up, and we are set for the first of 2 county commissioner races that we are eagerly anticipating news on.
We had 7 out of 8 polling locations reporting in the race for County Commissioner in District 1 on the Republican side. Sean Carruthers has put up 1,356 votes, while Al Knable sits at 2,042 votes.
All right, thank you very much, Jamie. Not sure. We'll wait. I think they're working on the graphics there for the Democratic side of that race. So Franklin Township Trustee Michael Thompson, the only Republican running, and actually the only person running at all in that race. So if the Democrats don't put anybody up, it'll be Michael Thompson claiming that spot on the Franklin Township Trustee position. 52 votes here. And for Franklin Township Board, Abby?
For the Democratic Party, we have Ann Hetkemer with 6 votes and Donald R. Schickel with 9 votes. And for the Republican Party, we have Joseph Zamorano with 49 votes.
I want to point out while I was talking, it said Ann next. That was an honest mistake. All right. Number 9, that is going to give us Eve White. So we just got an update that Al Knable had moved out, had about a 600, almost 700 vote advantage on Sean Carruthers on the Republican side. If that were to hold up, Al Knable would be taking on the winner of Tyler Gaines and Chuck Simon. So the update on that one, Eve.
With 7 out of 8 polling locations reporting in the Democratic race for County Commissioner in District 1, Tyler Gaines has, while Chuck Simons checks in with 474 votes.
All right. Guys, if we can check in the back, I'm sure you all can hear me. Just check on Abby's microphone levels there, if you could. Just got an update from one of our troubleshooters out there. Thank you, Chris. All right. We are waiting one more update there. Georgetown Township Trustee D. Roney came in here and did his candidate profile with us, and we knew at that point he was running uncontested. Doesn't have anybody on the Democratic side thus far. D is the incumbent in this one, 737 votes. So unless the Democrats mount a challenge in the fall, it'll be D. Roney holding on to his spot on the Township Trustee position there. Also going to, before we go on to Ellie here in a second, if you want to give us our first update at Greenville Township Trustee.
Greenville Township Trustee, we have Vicki Tenser with 110 votes and Mary Jo Loop with 501 votes.
Loop, the incumbent there, she is running uncontested. She'll be taking on Vicki Tenser in the fall for Greenville Township Trustee. All right, Ellie Dablow, we have got a county council position that we need you to update us on there.
Hi. With 7 out of 8 polling locations reporting in the Republican race for County Council District 2, Jim Freiberger checks in with 593 votes, while incumbent Adam Roberts holds 332 votes.
Thank you very much. Let's see what other Georgetown Town Clerk Treasurer position. Julia Keebler, the incumbent, running uncontested. She's got 216 votes going her way, so she will move on to the fall. And again, thus far, the Democrats have not announced who, if anybody, will be running against her. So it could be that Julia Keebler will hold on to that position uncontested. Georgetown Town Council member at large, only one Democrat running this time, and that is Billy Haller. He's got 58 votes. We have got, do we have Georgetown Town? Yeah, let me go back to Ian, because you do have that on the Republican side for that at-large position.
Yes, I do. Thank you, Mr. Brian Sullivan. And with 7 out of 8 polling locations reporting in the Republican at-large race for the Georgetown Town Council, Brandon Hope has 105 votes, incumbent Chris Loop with 167, and Jason Parrish has claimed 91 votes.
Thank you, Ian. We typically do not report on these, but it is on the list. The state convention delegates, Floyd County does have a Republican at-large position this year. We won't read through the entire list. It's a lot of familiar names that have run before. I'm going to go with anybody that has at least 1,200 votes in that. Dale Bagshaw with 1,375 votes Sean Carruthers, 1,801. Ed Clare, 2,030. That's the most of anybody in that race. Annie Kirchner, 1,299 votes. And Josh Turner, 1,329. Again, that is for a delegate position at large to the state convention on the Republican side. Number 12, next up in the rotation, we're going back to Ian with another county council race.
All right, thank you. And with 7 out of the 8 polling locations reporting in for the Republican race for the County Council District 4, incumbent Denise Conkle has 699 votes, while Doug Wacker has 730.
Guys in the back, if you could pull up slide 1 again. Feels like we haven't talked about that in quite a while, but that's why we gave it to Riley, because that's the one that a lot of people are paying a lot of attention to around the state tonight. Again, statewide, last update we had, Aaron Houchin it's tightened up a little bit. We got 23% of the count in, and Houchin has a 37% to 25% advantage over Sodrell. I think those numbers are a little bit different here in Floyd County, so we'll go back to Riley with an update on the 9th district race.
With 7 out of 8 polling locations reporting in the Republican race for the United States House of Representatives in the 9th Congressional District, the votes are as follows. Jim Baker has 253 votes. J. Michael Davison has 36 votes. Dan Heiwig has 23. Aaron Houchin has collected 1,093 votes. Eric Schonsberg has 201. Mike Sodrell with 1,113. Stuart Barnes Israel has garnered 607. So far, Brian Tibbs checks in with 72, and Bill Thomas with 31.
Thank you very much, Riley. Let's see who we have not had a chance to get to yet. Jamie, New Albany Township Board. There's only 3 Democratic races that are contested here this evening in the county. Everything else running unopposed or moving on if we've got 3 people and 3 positions available. But 3 Democratic races tonight. We'll give it to Jamie for the Township Board here locally.
With 7 out of 8 polling locations reporting in the Democratic race for the New Albany Township Board, Steve Bonifer currently has 484 votes. Rick Cochran, has picked up 518. Max Gossman with 332, and Cedrica Porter tallying 388.
Again, 3 out of 4 of those Democratic candidates will move on to the November election. So what we're looking at is that race for 3rd, and Cedrica Porter, 388 to 332, a 56 vote advantage over Max Gossman. We don't have the Prosser results in, although we do have them tabulated. We're just waiting for the next round of updates to be delivered to us here. But then the all-important results coming in from the clerk's office. The last update we had, still waiting for Pearson Scott. And Pearson just texted and said he's been waiting for 2 hours. So I told him perhaps that was going to be a possibility. And he is finding out that maybe next time around not to volunteer for that spot. Riley Kennedy, we're going to come back to you with the Greenville Township Board.
Thanks, Brian. With 7 of 8 polling locations reporting in the Republican race for Greenville Township Board, Cheryl Matthews has 250 votes, Dave Matthews with 328 votes, Patty Nelson sits at 326 votes, and Karen Williar checks in with 347 votes.
Send a note down the hallway to go ahead. Well, she's probably listening on the television here. Mrs. Stuber, if you can hear us and you want to go ahead and print out the results with the Prosser vote totals included, we can go ahead and get all of the polling locations wrapped up there, and then that hopefully will buy us a little time for Pearson if we do an update right now to get those in his hands and delivered down here. The only 2 I don't think that we have heard from initially here on this round with 7 out of 8 would be Carter with County Council District 3 and Ian for the at-large membership on the Georgetown Town Council. So Carter, we'll start with you first with the County Council position.
Mr. Brian Sullivan. Now, anyways, with 7 out of the 8 polling locations reported in the race for County Council District 3 for the Republicans, incumbent Danny Short has 198 votes, while Brian Webb currently sits at 153. That's a 198 to 153.
All right, thank you very much. And Ian, we will go ahead and get that last of them. That is going to be the Georgetown at-large race.
Got you. Thank you, Brian Sullivan. And with 7 out of our 8 polling locations reporting for the Republican at-large race for the Georgetown Town Council, Brandon Hope has 105 votes, incumbent Chris Loop has 167 votes, and Jason Parrish has 91 votes.
All right, thank you very much. We're going to bounce around here. We've gotten through all 15 of the races here, again with 7 out of 8 polling locations reporting. The only one that we don't have besides the clerk's office is Prosser. We do have that having been submitted, and I believe they are adding those up and will be running them down to us. So let's look at some of the maybe more interesting or closely contested. Ed Clare trying to hold on to his seat in District 72. If we could go ahead to Ellie and get, again, an update on that one.
With 7 out of 8 polling locations reporting in the Republican race for Indiana State Representative in District 72, incumbent Ed Clare has 1,278 votes, while challengers Jackie Bright Grubbs and Tom Jones have 1,041 and 313 votes.
All right, another one that's getting a lot of interest here in Floyd County tonight is the race for sheriff. Daryl Mills, former sheriff of New Albany, is going to be waiting on the Democratic side in November. He's got 2 Republican challengers trying to duke it out for the right to take on Mills in November, and that sends us back to Ian for the most recent update.
Yes, it does. Thank you, Mr. Brian Sullivan. And for that race for the Floyd County Sheriff on the Republican side, Steve Bush has 1,942 votes, while Sam Sarkison has 1,586 votes.
All right. Are we waiting an update there, Oliver? Okay. All right, let's see. What's another tight one that we want to try to... County Commissioner District 1. That is on the Republican side, Jamie Gaetano. If we can get an update on that one again.
Yeah. With 7 out of 8 polling locations reporting in the race for County Commissioner in District 1 on the Republican side, Sean Carruthers has put up 1,356 votes, while Al Knable sits at 2,042 votes.
Ellie, we'll just keep moving down the line there if we can get an update from you on County Council District 2.
With 7 out of 8 polling locations reporting in the Republican race for County Council District 2, Jim Freiberger checks in at 593 votes, while incumbent Adam Roberts holds 332 votes.
Well, let's see what the most recent addition here is. 9 locations. 8 polling locations, however, so that's slight distinction. Yes, 8 places that people could vote today. The 9th one is the clerk's office, where voting does not take place on election day, but all of the votes that were done absentee or early voting over the past month in Floyd County, those all go to the clerk's office. They do not start tabulating them until election day. And as we have seen, especially the past couple of years with COVID, there's been an increase in early voting, so we don't have as many people out on election day. So despite the numbers that you hear now, it's not to say that they won't hold, but we're going to get a large percentage of our vote totals coming in with that final report coming in from the clerk's office. County Commissioner District 1 on the Democrat side. Again, the winner is going to take on either Al Knable or Sean Carruthers. Al Knable with about a 650, nearly 700 vote lead right now. And we will send it to Jamie. Is it Jamie or Democrat District 1? Eve, sorry.
Again, with 7 out of 8 polling locations reporting in the Democratic race for County Commissioner in District 1, Tyler Gaines has 604 votes, while Chuck Simons checks in with 474.
Let's get an update from Riley here real quick on the 9th Congressional District, please.
Thank you very much. With 7 of 8 polling locations reported in the Republican race for the United States House of Representatives in the 9th Congressional District, the votes are as follows. Jim Baker has 253 votes. Dan Highwick has 23. 101. Mike Sodrell with 1,113. Stuart Barnes Israel garnered 607 so far. Brian Tibbs checks in with 72, and Bill Thomas has 30.
All right, we're going to alternate here with some of the races where we are not going to have winners or losers tonight. Everybody uncontested here, or groups that are all moving forward. So we're going to go up into the county, Georgetown, Greenville, Lafayette areas, and do some updates that maybe we have not spent as much time on this evening. So I'm going to start off with Georgetown Township Trustee. Again, the incumbent D. Roney is running uncontested tonight, has all 737 votes. He does not as yet have an opponent from the Democrats for the fall, and so if that remains the case, D. Roney will stay on as the Georgetown Township Trustee. I think everybody moves on to the Township Board in Georgetown, so Abigail, get you those.
So for Democrat Melissa Fry, we have 169 votes. Republican Joy R. Blind, we have 424. For Republican Lee Ann Knopp, we have 555 votes. And for Republican Ed Snelling, we have 560 votes.
And again, all of them will move on, but they're going to be pulling from the same voters in the fall, so it does strike me as interesting that Ed Snelling and Leanne Kopp within 5 votes of one another here this evening. Kopp is the incumbent in that one, but Snelling right now with a 5-vote advantage. Again, Snelling, Kopp, and Blind will all move forward to the November election. Greenville Township Trustee, we've got one candidate running in each of those. On the Democratic side, Vicki Tenser with 110 votes. She's going to advance to take on Mary Jo Loop for the Republicans with 501 votes. They will square off in November as well. We will send it over for the Democratic side, Greenville Township Board now.
For the Democratic side for the Greenville Township Board, we have Ann P. McNally with 95 votes. And Democrat Carol C. Norton with 76 votes.
All right, just got a text from Pearson Scott saying got him. So he will be making his way back down here, and hopefully he is down at the clerk's office at the old city county building there by the library on Spring Street, and so he will be back here in about 5 minutes and get those up here. So I'm not sure if we have got anybody running down the results that include Prosser yet. I'm going to ask if Cole, back in TV production, if you can check and see if we can get those printed out. So that'll buy us a little time before we have to get the clerks added in here as well. And there he goes sprinting down the hall. All right, on Lafayette Township Board, 3 candidates moving forward, and they've got 3 on the Democratic side up there, so everybody will go ahead. Barbara Zip Lamb with 94 votes. Betty Batliner is an incumbent, has 86, and Jeremy Shoemate with 79. And then I will let you give me a rundown of the Republicans there.
So we have Republican Jimmy Cummins with 318 votes, Republican Christy McDaniel with 389 votes, and Bob Snook with 332 votes.
So looking very competitive there. And again, those 6 candidates all move forward to November's election. If tonight is any indication, it looks like the Republicans are going to fare very well up in the Lafayette Township coming up in November. For Township Trustee in Lafayette, Democrat Emily Batliner Bickers with 119 running uncontested tonight, and she will be taking on, I believe, Jeff Williams, New Albany High School teacher Jeff Williams, and the incumbent, he has got 493 votes so far. So Emily Batliner Bickers and Jeff Williams will be your candidates in November. New Albany Township Trustee, I'll go ahead and give that to you. Again, both of these Democrats and Republicans running uncontested here in May.
We have Democrat David Brewer with 697 votes and Republican Dean Bagshaw with 1,008 votes.
All right. New Albany Township Board, we've already talked about that. The race is for that third position in the balloting, as Cedric Porter has got a 56 vote advantage on Max Gossman. All three Republicans will be moving forward to November, and Carruthers with 761 votes is trailing Bob Hornig with 817 and Victoria Sanchez with 573. Julia Keebler will advance and is running uncontested so far in the fall for Georgetown Town Clerk and Treasurer with 216 votes. You got the Democratic at-large member, the information there. Georgetown Town Board.
For Georgetown Town Council member at large for Democrat, we have Billy Haller with 58 votes.
All right. We're getting an update here from Mr. Johnson. Waiting for Pearson, and we do know that he is in his car en route. So guys in the back, we're gonna go through again while we are waiting for the next batch of updates. So if you can take your cues from me on what slides we can have pulled up there with the most recent updates. Let's start with Ian Rodriguez, Sheriff. That'll be slide number 6, please, and we will go over to Ian with the update on that.
Thank you, Mr. Brian Sullivan. And for the sheriff, and 7 out of our 8 polling locations reporting in the race for Floyd County Sheriff. On the Republican side, Steve Bush has 1,942 votes, and Sam Sarkison has 1,586 votes.
Thank you, Ian. Let's see here. In the back, if we can pull up slide 14. That is going to be the New Albany Township Board, and for that, we'll get back over to Jamie Gaetano.
With 7 out of 8 polling locations reporting in the Democratic race for New Albany Township Board, Steve Bonifer currently has 484 votes, Rick Cochran has picked up 518 so far, Max Gossman with 332, and Cedric Porter tallying 388 votes.
Thank you, Jamie. Eve, we have not heard from you for a while. State Senator, this is slide 3 back there. State Senator District 47, I believe this is a Republican-only race here involving Ed Clare. No, sorry, this is the Kevin Bain line race.
With 7 out of 8 polling locations reporting on the Republican side in the race for Indiana State Senator District 47, incumbent Kevin Bain line checks in with 1,960 votes, while Gary Byrne currently has 1,138.
Thank you, Eve. And again, a reminder, we're still waiting on the numbers to be tabulated and brought down the hall to us that include the clerk's office. So all the early voting is going to be obviously the highest percentage of votes that we have had come in this evening. So do not run away yet. I think I just saw some stuff being brought down to our social media folks down the hallway. Again, if you're wanting information, we're going to have the final totals, the official totals posted on our Facebook page. So if you go to Facebook and search for 88.1 WNAS, when those are certified by the clerk's office, we will have the official totals posted hopefully tomorrow morning. You can also follow us on our Twitter page at WNAS 88FM. Let's see if Deuce is coming in here to give us any. Okay. All right. Let's get another update. Jamie, we'll come back to you. This will be slide 2 back there. U.S. House of Representatives, this time on the Democratic side.
Yeah. So with 7 out of 8 polling locations reporting in the Democratic race for the United States House of Representatives in the 9th Congressional District, the votes are as follows. Isaac Azair with 317 votes, D. Liam Doris with 186 votes, and Matthew Fife with 620 votes.
All right, County Commissioner, we've got, it's one of the only races that we're covering tonight where we have got an actual race on both the Democratic and the Republican side, so let's get updates on those. Jamie, I'm going to keep with you. Slide 8 in the back, this is on the Republican side.
With 7 out of 8 polling locations reporting the race for County Commissioner in District 1 on the Republican side, Sean Carruthers has put up 1,356 votes, and Al Knable sits at 2,442 votes.
Okay, so Al Knable looking to be in pretty solid position right now as we await the last batch of updates here. Again, he'll advance to take on a Democratic challenger. JB, if you can pull up number 9 there, and for County Commissioner District 1 on the Democratic side, we'll go back over to Eve.
Polling locations reporting in the Democratic race for County Commissioner in District 1, Tyler Gaines has 604 votes, and Chuck Simons checks in with 474 votes.
All right, number 4 back there will be State Representative. And for that, we'll go back over to Ellie Dablo.
Hi. With 7 out of 8 polling locations reporting in the Republican race for Indiana State Representative in District 72, incumbent Ed Clare has 1,278 votes, while challengers Jackie Bright Grubbs and Tom Jones have 1,401 votes and 313.
Ellie, I'm going to keep it with you. If we can pull up number 10 there, the Republican race in the County Council. This will be for District 2.
With 7 out of 8 polling locations reporting in the Republican race for County Council District 2, Jim Freiberger checks in at 593 votes, while incumbent Adam Roberts holds 332 votes.
Sorry, we're trying to make sure that we got our Twitter feed up and running there. I am a harsh taskmaster here. We do it because we want to make sure we get all the information out as accurately, as quickly as possible. And again, we are just waiting for the results to come in here. Mrs. Guilford, Mrs. Stuber is asking if we want the most recent updates before Pearson gets back. So we might have one more go around here before we get going. Some of the races uncontested as we wait. Prosecuting Attorney Chris Lane is running uncontested for the Republicans, 2,973 votes here. Also running uncontested, Danita Burks, who is running for City Clerk. We know she's keeping very busy downtown tonight, 2,916 votes, as she is probably going to be unopposed in the fall as well. Daryl Mills is awaiting the winner on the Republican side. Former sheriff has got 1,134 votes here this evening. Also, Ed Clare has got a little bit of a cushion on Jackie Bright Grubbs. The winner there will go on to take on Democrat Keel Rourke, who has 954 votes. Riley, the big race, the most crowded field in the 9th Congressional District on the Republican side. If we can get the last update once again there.
Sure, Brian. With 7 of 8 polling locations reporting in the Republican race for the United States House of Representatives in the 9th Congressional District, the votes are as follows. Jim Baker has 253 votes. J. Michael Davison has 36. Dan Haywig has 23. Aaron Houchen has collected 1,093. Eric Schonsberg has 201. Mike Sondrel with 1113. Stuart Barnes Israel has garnered 607 so far. Brian Tibbs checks in with 72, and Bill Thomas with 31 votes.
Thank you, Riley. And folks, I again want to thank everybody that is working to make this possible tonight, but especially the folks that are on camera. We have got the lights blazing down. Everybody's been dressed up. And we've been in here, started rolling in about 4 o'clock this afternoon to go through some trial runs and to make sure that everything was working the best we could get it going. There have been some starts and stops, but I think it's been going fairly well. But for the folks that have been in here for a little over 4 hours now, it is not always comfortable to be sitting here under these lights You all have been troopers. Thank you very much for this. It doesn't guarantee an A in the class or anything, but it's, you know, it's good there. It is 8:10. And so, all right. Sophie, if you want to go over there and refresh that so it doesn't die on us again there. Carter, let me come back. We have not talked about the auditor's race in a while on the Republican side. So
The which race? The
slide
auditor?
number 5 in the back there, please. Floyd County Auditor.
Yes, well, I'm just kidding. Okay. So, with 7 out of the 8 polling locations reporting in the Republican race, until Pearson gets here anyways, Team Diana is actually polling forward with 1,678 votes compared to Amanda Pallmeyer checking in with 1,919 votes. This is for, of course, the Floyd County Auditor race.
All right. Thank you. We good? Ian, we are going to come back to you for County Council, and we are looking at District 4, please.
All right, thank you, Mr. Brian Sullivan. For 7 out of our 8 polling locations reporting in on the Republican race for County Council District 4, incumbent Denise Conkle has 699 votes, while Doug Wacker has 730 votes.
All right. Ian, let me keep it with you while we're already back there. The at-large member for the Georgetown Town Council.
Gotcha. All right, 7 out of the 8 polling locations again are reporting in for the Republican at-large race for the Georgetown Town Council. Brandon Hope has 105 votes. Incumbent Chris Loop has 167, and Jason Parrish has 91 votes.
All right, you all are about to get the next to last update here. So we've been going with, again, just to make sure for clarification's sake, we're getting results from 9 locations. Only 8 of those are voting locations on election day. So we have had students out and about, and actually, while we're waiting for them, I do want to recognize those folks here this evening. So at the 4-H Fairgrounds, Hadley Thompson and Lily Scott were out there collecting results for us. Chase Walters and Ryan Utley were up at Valley View Golf Course. Caleb Elliott and Deuce Burnside were right down the hall from us as they were covering the votes at New Albany High School. Gus Dickman picking them up from Prosser out there at 265 in Charlestown Road. Nolan Knable, and whose dad Al is running for one of the offices tonight. He was out there with Davis Krebs at Scribner Middle School. Sean Broughton and Ryan Betch drove up to Georgetown Elementary tonight. Cole Thurston and Taylor Treat, especially those two, they worked 4-hour on the radio, doing 2 shifts today. Hopped in the car, went up to Greenville Elementary tonight to get the results there. Peyton Lamb up at Floyd Central High School. And so those are the 8 voting locations today. And then the 9th spot, and the one that took the most, they weren't doing any voting down at the clerk's office today, but they were tabulating all of the past month's absentee and early balloting, and Pearson Scott should have those in the door, and we're probably working to get those updated right now. I'm going to let you guys finish up over there because when we do this next one, this will be all 8 voting locations on this election day reporting, and all we will have left is the clerk's office, which again is going to be the biggest one. If they are adding that up, it'll be pretty quick. I'm not sure if we'll get through all 15 of these this time around, so we'll look for the more highly publicized races, and if we've got any that look like they are tightening up here. We're going to go through some of the uncontested stuff here to give a little time for our guys in the back to start getting the updates on the screen and prepared for you all. If you need to take a drink, fan yourself off for a second. We'll suffer over here for you all for the time being. U.S. Senator's race, both running uncontested. The incumbent, Todd Young, 3,388 votes. He will move forward to take on Thomas McDermott in the fall. McDermott with 1,261. District 45. I'll let Abigail take control of here.
For District 45, we have Democrat Nick Marshall, and he has 266 votes. And then we have Republican Chris Garden with 632 votes.
State Representative District 70, both of these candidates running unopposed as well. On the Democratic side, Jason Szymanski with 170 votes. He'll be taking on incumbent Karen Engelman, who had 683 votes here so far this evening.
And then next we have State Representative District 71 with Democrat Rita Fleming with 15 votes and Republican Scott Hawkins with 9 votes.
State Representative District 72, Keel Rourke, will be the Democratic winner. He's running unopposed and will be moving on to take on the winner. It's looking like at this point either Ed Clare or Jackie Bright Grubbs. Rourke with 1,149 votes so far this evening.
Next we have Judge of Floyd Circuit Court with Republican Justin Brown leading the way with 3,580 votes and Democrat Dana Eberly Pay with 1,353 votes.
All right, so those two squaring off in November in the judges race. Prosecuting attorney Chris Lane, the Republican incumbent, he was running unopposed tonight, 3,620 votes, and also Danita Burks is going to move forward into November, has all 3,544 votes here this evening. You got the sheriff on the Democrat side there.
For County Sheriff for Democratic Party, we have Daryl Mills with 1,343 votes.
Okay. Patricia Badger Bird in the county assessor's race, the only Democrat that is running, 1,281 votes. She'll be moving forward to November as well. County Council District 1.
For County Council District 1 for the Democratic Party, we have Tony Turan with 389 votes, and with Republican Charlie Moon with 471 votes.
How are you guys looking over there? Okay. What's that? All right, Daniel Harris is the only Democrat running for County Council District 2, 253 votes, and he'll be moving forward. County Council District 3, only one Democrat, Brian Brewer with 382 votes. I'll let you go down and take the Franklin Township stuff there.
For Franklin Township Trustee for the Republican Party, we have Michael Thompson with 54 votes. For Franklin Township Board for the Democratic Party, we have Ann Hetkimer with 6 votes, and Democrat Donald Schickel with 9 votes, and Republican Joseph Zamorano with 51 votes.
We're going to go behind the scenes here real quick. Do we have these entered in on any of the screens here yet? We do not. Can we pop the door open for Mrs. Stuber? We're pulling back the curtain here, seeing how everything is made. Is this what we received? This is the final total. Yes, let's go ahead and do that. And all right, so the clerk's office has sent us actually the final vote totals all compressed together. So Mrs. Stuber is going to get back there and quickly add that up. So we're going to start here now. The totals that we have here, Mrs. Stuber's getting the clerk's numbers added in right now. So this is an update with the 8 voting locations, just today's voting around the county. All right, we are going to start with Riley Kennedy, and she will look at that crowded field for the U.S. House of Representatives seat.
Thanks, Brian. With 8 of 8 polling locations for United States House of Representatives in the 9th Congressional District, the votes are as follows. Jim Baker has 314 votes. J. Michael Davison has 39. Dan Hywick has 37. Aaron Houchin has 1324 votes. Eric Schonsberg has, missed him. That's my bad. 265 votes. Mike Sondrel has 1355 votes. Stuart Barnes Israel has garnered 723. So far, Brian Tibbs checks in with 87, and Bill Thomas with 34 votes.
So here in Floyd County, Mike Sondrel still holding on to a slight advantage over Heron Houchin. 31 votes that he is leading by, 1,355 to 1,324. Around the state, we have got 53% of the vote reporting, and Houchin with about a 10% advantage right now, 36.8% of the votes, leading Sondrel, who is in second out of that field with 26.4%. This is outside of our voting area, but in the United States House of Representatives for District 7, it looks like Representative Carson is getting 93.3% of the vote so far up in Indianapolis. So that is some of the updates of the bigger races around the state. All right, the winner of that race is going to take on one of three Democratic challengers here. And so on the Democratic side, I think we're sending that back over to Jamie Gaetano. U.S. House of Representatives, yes.
With 8 out of 8 polling locations reporting in the Democratic race for the United States House of Representatives in the 9th Congressional District, the votes are as follows. Isaac Azair has 377 votes, D. Liam Doris has 222, and Matthew Fife has 728 votes.
All right, thank you, Jamie. So at this point, at least down here, Matthew Fife, he is a high school teacher at Bloomington North High School up in Monroe County, and he took the time to drive down here and meet with us for that candidate profile show, and looks like we might have the opportunity to have him come back down here if this would hold up, and speak with him again in September when we do that. Let's see here. Number 3 is up and ready, so we'll send that over to Eve White, the state senator's race.
With 8 out of 8 polling locations reporting on the Republican side in the race for Indiana State Senator District 47, incumbent Kevin Bain checks in with 2,057 votes, while Gary Byrne currently has 1,187.
All right, thank you very much, Eve. State Senator District 45, these both running uncontested. Nick Marshall with 266 votes on the Democratic side. Chris Garton with 632 votes for the Republicans. They will both be moving on to November to take on each other. Also, State Representative District 70, Jason Szymanski with 170 votes, and Karen Engelman, the Republican lone nominee this time around, 684. She is the incumbent, and Szymanski and Engelman will be squaring off. And you got District 72 there at the bottom, or 71 at the bottom.
We have Democrat Rita Fleming with 15 votes and Republican Scott Hawkins with 9 votes.
All right, so just depending on how the district is drawn up, very light voting in that one. State Representative District 72, Keel Rourke is going to be advancing, the lone Democrat, 1,149. We are getting closer to having a challenger for Keel Rourke, and for that update, we're going to go to Ellie Dablow.
With 8 out of 8 polling locations reporting in the Republican race for Indiana State Representative in District 72, incumbent Ed Clare has 1,634 votes, while challengers Jackie Bright Grubbs and Tom Jones have 1,327 votes and 406 votes.
All right, so Ed Clare with a 70-vote advantage at Prosser on this last update stretches out his advantage just a little bit. The judge for Floyd Circuit Court, it'll be Dana Eberly Pay against Justin Brown in the fall. Eberly Pay with 1,353 votes on the Democratic side, Justin Brown 3,580 on the Republican side. I'll let you go ahead and take prosecuting attorney and clerk.
Prosecuting attorney for Republican, we have Chris Lane with 3,620 votes, and clerk of the Circuit Court Republican Party, Danita Burks with 3,544 votes.
All right, we got slide number 5 updated. That is the Floyd County Auditor's race, and for that one, we will send it back over to Carter Davis.
Okay, perfect. This one is for all the marbles, or it may not be. I'm not sure, very familiar with the legal system. But with 8 out of the 8 polling locations reporting in the Republican race for Floyd County Auditor, Diana Topping has 2,049 votes, and Amanda Paulmeyer checks in with 1,338.
All right, Carter, thank you very much. Seeing if we've got an update back there ready for us. I'm going to jump around. I think we're moving top to bottom as the stuff comes in there. So, Riley, I'm going to come to you and look at one of the votes out in the county. If you can give me the Greenville Township Board on the Republican side.
Sure thing, Brian. With 8 of 8 polling locations reporting in the Republican race for Greenville Township Board, Cheryl Matthews has 254 votes, Dave Matthews has 335 votes, Patty Nelson at 333 votes, and Kevin Williard checks in with 354 votes.
All right, again, 3 out of the 4 moving forward in that race to the November election. We got number 6 up and ready. Ian, we are set to come back over to you and looking at that Republican side of the sheriff's race.
Thank you, Mr. Brian Sullivan, and good evening, my fellow Americans. With 8 out of our 8 polling locations reporting in the race for Floyd County Sheriff on the Republican side, Steve Bush has 2,396 votes, and Sam Sarkison has 1,878 votes.
All right, Ian, thank you very much on that update in the sheriff's race. And again, the winner of that one will move forward to take on Daryl Mills. He is running unopposed on the Democratic side, trying to take back the seat that he had lost to Frank Loop in the last election. Mills with 1,343 votes. It's going to be a very competitive race between Mills and whoever comes out on that Republican side. County Assessor Patricia Badger Bird, the lone Democrat, she will be out to November with 1,281 votes. Riley, I'm getting an update back there that we are set for your next update. This will be for Floyd County Assessor.
Of course. With 8 of 8 polling locations reporting in the Republican race for Floyd County Assessor, Chris Jones has 1,017 votes, incumbent James Sinks checks in with 742 votes, and Terry Watson has amassed 1,667 votes.
Do you have any uncontested races that we want to get caught up on over there, Abby? No, you're fine.
Can we do county council?
Yes, absolutely.
So for County Council District 1 for Democratic Party, we have Tony Turan with 389 votes, and Republican Charlie Moon with 471 votes.
Ian, let's come back to you and take a look at the Georgetown at-large race for town council.
Thank you, Mr. Brian Sullivan. And with 8 of our 8 polling locations reporting in the Republican at-large race for the Georgetown Town Council, Brandon Hope has 105 votes, incumbent Chris Loop has 168, and Jason Parrish has 91 votes.
All right, thank you, Ian. Any more updates in the back, gentlemen, that we should be looking for here? Otherwise, we're going to jump forward with... Okay. Let me go ahead. Jamie, let's come back. We got 4 candidates running for 3 spots to move forward in the New Albany Township Board. So we'll go back to Jamie Katana with that one.
Okay. With 8 out of 8 polling locations reporting in the Democratic race for the New Albany Township Board, Steve Bonifer currently has 627 votes, Rick Cochran has picked up 662, Max Gossman with 434, and Cedric Porter tallying 496 votes.
And as we mentioned on a couple of occasions earlier, 3 out of the 4 advance, and so we're looking at who finishes with the 3rd highest vote total. Cedric Porter now has stretched it out to a 62 vote advantage over Max Gossman here. So looking like Cochran and Bonifer at this point, and again, this is without the early voting totals coming in from the clerk's office yet. Looking like those 2 at the present time would be moving forward, so we're keeping a close eye on this last batch of updates that'll be down the hall here momentarily between Porter and Gossman to see who moves forward. On the Republican side, all three candidates will move forward. Bob Hornig with 1,273, Ann Carruthers 1,188, and Victoria Sanchez with 913. Let's go back to this page here. We'll run through some of the stuff out in the county before we get our next update down here in the city. Start with Township Trustee.
For Township Trustee, we have Republican D. Roney with 746 votes.
Georgetown Township Board, only one Democrat, Melissa Fry. She's got 172 votes. Will be moving forward. All three candidates on the Republican side will move forward as well. Joy Blind with 429. Leanne Kopp, the incumbent, with 559, and 6 votes ahead of her, Ed Snelling, with 565. For Greenville now.
For Greenville Township Trustee, we have Democrat Vicki Tinser with 112 votes, and for Republican Mary Jo Luke, we have 509 votes.
Those two will be moving on to November's election. Greenville Township Board, 2 Democrats, both moving forward. Ann McNally with 98 and Carol Norton with 76 votes. Also Lafayette Township Trustee, 1 in each race. Democrat Emily Batliner Bickers with 123, and Jeff Williams, the incumbent on the Republican side, 501 votes. Nate, are we getting closer to? Okay. All right. Riley, I'm going to come back to you. They're flashing a 13 up on the board, so can you give us another update on that Greenville Township Board race?
Of course, Brian. With 8 of 8 polling places reporting in the Republican race for Greenville Township Board, Sean Matthews has 254 votes, Dave Matthews with 335, Patty Nelson at 333 votes, and Kevin Williard checks in with 354 votes.
All right, Ian, come back there. Let's work through some of the county council races here while we're waiting for that last batch of updates from the clerk's office. County Council District 4 on the Republican side.
I got you, Mr. Brian Sullivan. And Doug Wacker has 743 votes.
Okay, moving backwards numerically here. We just had County Council District 4. We'll look at District 3 now. Carter, if you can give us the update on the Republican side.
Yes, I can. With 8 out of 8 polling locations reporting in for the race for County Council District number 3 for the Republicans, Danny Short, the incumbent, has 529 votes, while Brian Webb currently sitting at 390 votes.
All right, thank you, Carter. A couple other folks here that we need to thank tonight. Nevaeh Owens, I think she has taken off for the evening. She was in charge of receiving all of the ballots when they initially got here from the different polling locations today. Silas Ems and Sam Jaggers, I think the students would say, were the MVPs because they were the ones that went out and made sure everybody got fed here. And we've also got Jenna Beard, who was down letting everybody in the building here this evening as they came back from the different locales that they drove out to around the area. And I'm not certain if we got to all of the drivers. I think we did. Pearson was the last one coming in from the clerk's office. So it takes a lot of folks to make this possible. We have about 40 people throughout the evening working in a variety of different areas here. And so, again, a reminder, we mentioned it once before, high school students. So we try to do the absolute best that we can. We've been doing this since 1980. We've almost never gotten it wrong. I'm told one time there was a sheriff's race before my time. But otherwise, you know, we try to do the best that we can here. Usually our results line up pretty accurately with the clerk's office, but this is not official. We do want to stress that. Until the county clerk's office certifies this, when all of the votes come in, we are merely giving the unofficial results here. So, again, check on the county clerk's website or the results that they release to the News and Tribune coming up tomorrow morning. All right, what have we not touched on? Ellie Dablow, County Council District 2. If we can get an update from our lone 9th grader tonight.
Hi.
Hello.
with 8 out of 8 polling locations reporting in the Republican race. For County Council District 2, Jim Freiberger checks in at 623 votes, while incumbent Adam Roberts holds 352 votes.
All right, and the one thing that we have not touched on this go around, we've got 2 Republicans and 2 Democrats each running in the District 1 for County Commissioner. One winner on each side to advance to November's general election. We will start with the Republicans, and for that, we'll come to Jamie Gaetano.
All right. Okay. With 8 out of the 8 polling locations reporting the race for County Commissioner in District 1, on the Republican side, Sean Carruthers has put up 1,644 votes, while Al Knabel has 2,476 votes.
All right, so looking pretty good for Dr. Knabel at this point, and if he moves on, he will do so against a Democratic challenger, and for that we will go back to Eve White to give us a look on the Democratic side.
Reporting in the Democratic race for County Commissioner in District 1, Tyler Gaines has 715 votes, and Chuck Simons checks in with 559.
All right, thank you very much. Again, a reminder as we're getting to the end here, we do election night coverage every year on 88.1 WNAS on the television station here, Spectrum Channel 183, and as cable television kind of slowly goes away, we also will have that streaming on our YouTube page. We will be doing this again for the general election. That'll be the first Tuesday in November. I believe that's the 5th or 6th. Early voting will start a month in advance, and prior to that, we will have all the candidates that are going to be on the ballot in November invited to come down and take part in our candidate profile show. So we'll be getting those invitations out in August to all the candidates. If you watched the candidate profile show this year and did not see your favorite candidates, we would like you to encourage them to come in. Gives them an opportunity to meet with our student staff members here, to do interviews with them, to talk a little bit about politics, try to generate some interest among some young potential voters who might have an interest in their civic responsibilities. Do I have any over there that will be old enough to be voting in the November election here? I saw a couple raise their hands. So please come out. We invite the candidates to do so. Come down to the high school. Tell us about yourself. Tell us why we should vote for you. We'll have that posted on our YouTube page and on WNAS.org. We'll film those in September. They will be posted all of October, and then we'll be back here doing this again. I think most of my older folks will probably volunteer to do the driving next time around. So, yeah, Ian's already shaking his head yes. Marley Tate, I see marching down the hallway enthusiastically, or was that might have been Khalees, actually. I was trying to look around Lily. So we are about to get our last batch of coming in here, and again, this could very drastically change some of the results here. This is going to be including what comes in from the county clerk's office. This will be all of the military ballots. This will be all the absentee ballots, early voting that has taken place on the weekends at a number of spots around Floyd County. And so this will be the, I think it's closest to the official totals as we are going to be able to give you here. So what Pearson was waiting for, we thought, was just the votes from down there. They were waiting to give him everything all at once here. So we are going to have that for you here momentarily. And guys, obviously you are looking at what is highlighted over in green here. So as you're getting that ready and want to start giving me thumbs up, and hopefully JB and Cole are knocking it out of the park here. The adrenaline is going to carry them through in the back. So while we are waiting to get some of those updated, we will look once again at the races that were not contested here this evening, but we do want to mention the votes that were received by these candidates. We know who will be advancing to take each other on in November. I'll start with U.S. Senator, incumbent, the Republican Todd Young, 6,052 votes. He will move on to take on Thomas McDermott Jr. from the Democratic side, 2,569 votes this evening. I'll let you move on to District 45 there.
For State Senator, District 45, Nick Marshall has 525 votes, and Chris Garden has 1,079 votes.
State Representative, District 70, both of these individuals moving on uncontested tonight. Jason Szymanski on the Democratic side with 362 votes. The incumbent, Republican Karen Engelman, 1,217 votes. In 71.
We have Rita Fleming with 31 votes and Scott Hawkins with 19 votes.
Okay. Judge in Floyd Circuit Court. One candidate for each party. Dana Eberly Pay moves forward to November, had 2,786 votes this evening. Justin Brown, the Republican candidate, 6,402 votes. Also failed to mention State Representative District 72, one Democratic candidate, Keel Rourke, with 2,340 will be advancing. That's the Ed Clare position, and we'll get an update on how Representative Clare's race is going here momentarily. Prosecuting attorney?
Prosecuting attorney Chris Lane has 6,470 votes.
Also uncontested both tonight and thus far in the general election, Danita Birch, 6,331 votes for Circuit Court Clerk. County Sheriff Daryl Mills, he is awaiting a winner on the Republican side, and the former sheriff had 2,748 votes tonight. Assessor on the Democratic side?
Assessor on the Democratic side, we have Patricia Trish Badger Bird with 2,659 votes.
Do I have thumbs up from everybody over there? Good. County Council, District 1, one for each side. Tony Turan, 658 votes this evening. Charlie Moon for the Republicans, 810. Daniel Harris, the Democrat in County Council, District 2, with 7 on either Freiberger or Roberts. We'll get that update here. County Council, District 3 for the Democrats.
County Council District 3, we have Brian A. Brewer with 788 votes.
Franklin Township Trustee, Republican Michael Thompson, had all 104 votes, and it does not at this point appear he's going to have a Democratic challenger in the fall. Everybody moves on in the Franklin Township board race. Ann Heitkemper with 22 votes, Donald Schickel with 23, Republican Joseph Zamorano with 99 votes. And for Georgetown Township Trustee,
D.A. Roney, we have 1,184 votes.
we got all of them lined up there, Nate? All right, we're going to pause. We will get to the rest of the races uncontested out in the county here, but we have got the final numbers for the 15 contested races that we were paying closest attention to this evening. And the first one that they have got pulled up for me, unsurprisingly, is going to be the Republican, very crowded field, trying to take the position vacated by Trey Hollingsworth. We've got 9 Republican candidates tonight, and for that, we are going to go over to Riley Kennedy once more.
Thanks, Brian. With all of 8 polling locations reporting in the Republican race for United States House of Representatives in the 9th Congressional District, the votes are as follows. Jim Baker has 543 votes, J. Michael Davison has 75, Dan Heiwig has 80, Aaron Sondrel has 2,584, Stuart Barnes Israel has garnered 1,177. So far, Brian Tibbs checks in with 138, and Bill Thomas with 63 votes.
All right, so here in Floyd County, Mike Sondrel is going to pull out a victory back near his hometown, 2,584 votes to Aaron Houchin's 2,330. However, that is not translated thus far on the statewide level. We've got 60% of the votes coming in from around southern Indiana, and Houchins has moved out a little bit farther, 37.2% to Sondrel's 26.1% of the votes so far. All right, so if Houchin, who finished second in Floyd County but is leading throughout the entire district, if she does move on, she will have to have a challenger from the Democratic side, and for that we will go over to Jamie Gaetano.
Hey. With all polling locations reporting in the Democratic race for the United States House of Representatives in the 9th Congressional District, the votes are as follows. Isaac Azair has 668 votes, D. Liam Doris has 434 votes, and Matthew Fife with 1,635 votes.
All right, so the political newcomer, Matthew Fife, as we mentioned, a teacher up at Bloomington North. He's got a convincing lead here in Floyd County tonight. We have not seen how that's playing out throughout the rest of the 9th District. That not on the STARS webpage here, so we'll continue to keep an eye out for that. All right, we have got number 3. That is State Senator, District 47, and that gets us back to Eve in the back middle.
With our total polling results from the county clerk's office, we have Republican side in the race for Indiana State Senator District 47. Incumbent Kevin Bain checks in with 3,602 votes, while Gary Byrne currently has 2,193.
All right, so Bainline pulls out to a pretty convincing advantage here in Floyd County tonight, nearly 1,500 votes, his cushion over Gary Byrne. And we will wait to see when the next slide gets up on the board here. We are getting the notes that we are set to go over to Ellie Dablow for one more look at District 72.
With all polling locations reporting in the Republican race for Indiana State Representative in District 72, incumbent Ed Clare has 3,021 votes, while challengers Jackie Bright Grubbs and Tom Jones have 2,205 and 786 votes.
All right, so if that holds up, it'll be Ed Clare moving forward to take on Keel Rourke for that seat that Ed Clare has held for several terms here. We have got an update now for Floyd County Auditor Carter Davis. One last look at the auditor's race tonight.
Yes, sir. Now, this one is it. Cross your fingers, ladies and gentlemen. Here are the results. With 8 out of the 8 polling locations reporting in the Republican race for Floyd County Auditor, Diana Topping has 2,049 votes, and Amanda Pawmeyer, checks in with 1,338.
As we do not have a Democrat as yet listed on the race, if we do not, then Diana Topping will be uncontested winner for the auditor's position come November. Ian, we're going to come back to you. One of the races we've been looking at most closely here this evening, that's the Republican battle for sheriff, and what do we have for that one?
All right, for that one, and we have all of our polling locations in, including the county clerk's office, reporting in for the race for Floyd County Sheriff on the Republican side. Steve Bush has 4,011 votes, and Sam Sarkison has 3,591 votes.
Make sure that we've got these totals here with the green numbers on the end. I think we got a older update on the auditor position there. So Topping, it doesn't affect who won there, but Topping, just to be sure, 3,736 votes in the auditor race, and Pawmeyer with 2,409. So I think we had the wrong numbers, but the right winner in that one. That's fine. That's fine. We're up to number 7 there. Okay, so we got sheriff out of the way. Riley, I think they've got for you, and that would be Floyd County Assessor.
Correct. With all polling places currently reporting the Republican race of Floyd County Assessor, Chris Dons has 1,737 votes. Incumbent James Sinks checks in with 1,364, and Terry Watson has amassed 3,131 votes.
Watson with more votes than the other two challengers combined there. He will be moving on to take on Patricia Badger Bird. She had 2,659 votes running uncontested here this evening. So it'll be Badger Bird taking on Watson in the fall. Moving on, back to Jamie. All right, this is going to be, again, another one of the ones we've been keeping close eye on throughout the evening. And I think we are ready to declare a winner there. We will start Jamie, the Republican side for County Commissioner.
Yeah, with reports from all polling locations in the race for County Commissioner in District 1 on the Republican side, Sean Carruthers has put up 2,762 votes, while Al Knable has 4,617 votes.
All right, so Al Knable is going to be our winner in that side of the race, and we'll be moving out to take on a Democratic challenger that Eve is going to update us on who that will be.
With our final results from the county clerk's office, in the Democratic race for county commissioner in District 1, Tyler Gaines has 1,421 votes, and Chuck Simons checks in with 1,263.
All right, so that will give us a Tyler Gaines versus Al Knable showdown in the fall. Moving forward now, we got a trio of county council positions. We'll go back to Ellie to see what the update is in District 2.
With all polling locations reporting in for the Republican race for County Council District 2, Jim Freiberger checks in at 1,388 votes, while incumbent Adam Roberts holds 729 votes.
All right, Freiberger moving on to take on Democrat Daniel Harris in the November election. Keeping with the County Council, Carter, we're going to look at District 3 now.
Yes, sir. I hope you didn't miss me too much. I'm back with the results for District 3, the victor, if you will. With 8 out of the 8 polling locations reporting in the race for the County Council District 3 for the Republicans, incumbent Danny Short has 976 votes, while Brian Webb currently sits at 672.
So Danny Short moving on to take on Brian Brewer, who had 788 votes here this evening. District 4 in the County Council race, Ian Rodriguez.
Thank you, Mr. Brian Sullivan. And once again, with all of our polling locations, including the county clerk's office, reporting in the Republican race for the County Council District 4, incumbent Denise Conkle has 1,197 votes, while Doug Wacker has 1,132 votes.
All right, thank you, Ian. Riley. Now we'll move out into the county. We're looking at Greenville and their township board race on the Republican side.
Of course. With all polling locations reporting in the Republican race for Greenville Township Board, Cheryl Matthews has 438 votes, Dave Matthews with 551, Patty Nelson at 555, and Kevin Williard checks in at 578 votes.
Okay, Jamie, New Albany Township Board.
With all of our polling locations reporting in the Democratic race for New Albany Township Board, Steve Bonifer has 1,317 votes, Rick Cochran 1,410, Max Gossman with 890, and Sedeka Porter tallying 962 votes.
All right, Ian, I believe this is the last one that we have got here. Georgetown, Town Council Member at Large.
All right. Once again, all of our polling locations, including the county clerk's office, are reporting in the Republican at-large race for the Georgetown Town Council. Brandon Hopp has 157 votes. Incumbent Chris Loop has 242 votes. And Jason Parrish has 135 votes.
All right. So that brings us to the end of our election coverage here tonight. We're going to get all of these numbers posted for you on our run-through graphics. If you want to spin through those, that's fine there. We'll talk over the top of them. We'll have all these numbers posted up here before the end of the evening on our Facebook page. Again, the numbers unofficial. They will be certified by the county clerk's office and posted on their website, and you will be able to find those numbers, I would assume, in the morning paper tomorrow. But we feel pretty confident about the winners that we have got here tonight. It's a long evening. It's almost been 5 hours here, so we're ready to cut these guys loose. But I want to thank everybody that was on the air with us here tonight, everybody on the cameras, back in TV production, updating the social media sites, everybody that was helping Mrs. Stuber up in the front office here, getting everything tabulated this evening, as well as obviously all the student drivers that went out to the polling locations earlier in the evening to get those results turned in to us so we can get everything going. Again, we'll have the updates on our Facebook page posted here within the hour based on the numbers that the county clerk's office sent down to us. We want to thank you all for tuning in. Again, we'll have our candidate profile show for the general election posted on our YouTube page and on WNAS.org about a month before the election. We'll try to have that up before early voting starts, and then we will have all of our election coverage, just like we did tonight on that first Tuesday in November for the 2022 general election. Thank you to everyone for tuning in tonight. Have a safe evening. We'll talk to you later. Good night, everyone.